this about what would it look like for you, for Earth, and we'll start with the exopolitics community. What would it look like for you to be mentored by several benevolent extraterrestrial races? What would that look like? What would we need to do to establish not only that communication, but at the same time have us feel safe with checks and balances so that they can walk their talk and we have to walk our talk? Open mentorship is our destiny. It's going to happen anyway, but we cannot wait for the government to turn itself around. It can't because it's not in control. All right? It is not in control. So, we have to turn our focus away from all that drama and figure out another way. What I want to do now is read to you what I was given way back when regarding creating a domain of knowing. This also came from Versailles. Create another domain of knowing, communicating and being. In other words, the domain of calling forth or generating your intent needs to be more distinct. Your physics, as you call it, is a good example of this calling forth. There have been men on your planet who have called forth new domains of thinking that never existed before here. They invented it. They didn't fantasize it. They didn't pretend. They literally created this new context from what you now call physics. Your humanity is strong with this kind of example. No being, however, makes the distinction that this is what they are. I would like to give you an example. Your concept of human rights wasn't so long ago that no such thing existed on your planet. It just simply didn't exist. You Terrans did not have any rights. Only the kings and the priests had their rights. But most of you Terrans do not have any rights. So you and other Terrans created human rights from nothing. You created the domain that created not only the rights to come forth, you created the language, and then you communicated it. And this communication that you gave had power because it was full of intent. It has the power not only to represent and to invoke, but it also to literally bring it into being. This is what your races need to do in order to clearly know yourselves. Now, in talking about that, let's talk about religions for a moment. The pyramidal structure of our governments primarily have come out of ancient Rome. And Rome was essentially controlled by 13 families. Okay? Those 13 families still exist today. Many of the world's religions, though they've had a tremendous amount of value and have brought an enormous amount of comfort to many people in our history and in our present day, they focus on shame, guilt, sin, and control. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the trap. Okay? They don't focus on self-responsibility. They don't focus on life or respect. They, in fact, create more division than we have ever known. Now, did they start out that way? With the exception of the Roman Catholic Church? I'm just going to be blunt about it. No. But the powers that be are masters of infiltrating movements. And what they do And I'll give you the best example I can give you is that of a charitable foundation. A foundation is created using the power of the people and the monies, the resources of the people, to do something that is of a benefit to humanity. As it's moving and it begins to gain power, and it starts to spread and shift consciousness, awareness, the powers that be will walk in and say, hey, we really believe in what you're doing, and we're going to give you a $25 million grant to help you continue to do your work. But we want to put one of our members on the board just to make sure that the money is spent wisely. And then they do it again, and now you have a second board member. And now you have a third board member. And before you know it, that movement, that foundation, instead of going up and creating more consciousness, more awareness, is now heading the other way. Okay? And now they also control the wealth of that foundation. Okay? We have been thinking in a pyramidal structure, in a third density structure. They're in fourth density, in holographic. We have to think the same way. And we have to be talking about how is it that we got ourselves into this. Now, this isn't a question of, well, it's essential that we put blame to the side for the moment. There's plenty of that, and there will be plenty of that. What we need is the knowledge. We need to know how these structures work so that we can create something different, something in total opposition to it. Because I can't imagine everybody's happy with the way things are. Okay? And this isn't just about the United States. This is about the global population. Because the extraterrestrial races don't see us as separate countries. They see us as one race. Okay? And we're all between a rock and a hard place, pretty much. Okay? At the moment. Taking personal responsibility is huge, but it really is the first and the biggest step to achieving full consciousness. Okay? I'm going to read you a quote that I found. It's from a gentleman named Little Hawk. He's a Native American Indian with the Mohawk tribe. Take credit for your mistakes, not what you do good, because you're supposed to be doing good anyway. Okay? We've all made mistakes. We've all screwed up. Okay? But that's part of the learning process. Okay? If you had all knowledge and you were all seeing, you wouldn't need to be here. Okay? So, collectively and individually, we need to start looking at the world and saying, what has my contribution been? Now, I'm not talking about going out and trying to save the world. It's not about that at all. Okay? It's really about each one of us individually.